Hi, it's Michelle Turner, and I haven't done one of these in a while, but someone asked me about breathing. Breathing is a very interesting way of working. Most people think lungs out and in, and it's a muscle-based function. It's not. It's one of the few functions that work off of a vacuum and stuff. Now, I get it. I can use my muscles and expand various places of my chest cavity to aid in breathing, do separate. Now, everything that I'm doing, everybody should be able to do. What I am doing that's so unusual is I'm breathing and talking separate to what my chest cavity is doing. Most people, or an immature breathing pattern, only can be done where you're expanding and contracting all at once, versus being able to move your chest in different ways. And this is what people do naturally with sports or more high-end things, that they can go, let's say, to shoot a basket or karate or anything like that, that their chest cavity is moved separate than the lung function. That being said, still, closing your eyes is great before you go to bed kind of thing. I like to start with just that area that is below the rib cage into the belly. And one of the most important factors, I think, is more the systems sort of synchronizing. It's one thing to control lung capacity or lung function. So that would be expand the chest, let's say, and expand the belly kind of thing. That seesaw breath or that yoga breath, all of those kind of things. What I'm doing is just really just looking at the movement. So it's a very subtle touch. And I'm just looking at, you can hardly see me do it, is I'm drawing the chest cavity down very lightly with my thumb. So I'm not pressing into any kind of organ function. I'm not doing this kind of movement. It's a scoop, and I'm just feeling that float. And what the float is I'm looking to separate the ribs almost from the chest cavity. Very similar if you were working on the glide of the scapula, let's say, or your SI joint in the pelvis. And I'm just doing this a couple of times. And now, as you know me, I'm all about the rotation. But now I'm going to scoop in, and I'm lightly going to bend, more so my spine. So I'm bending my spine to the left as I'm sort of bringing my right chest cavity in. So I'm not pushing it. That's what this would look like. I'm using my fingers to scoop and glide that chest cavity down. But that's what I'm looking for right there. I'm after that stored kinetic energy. So I go here to a point, and so when my breath comes back out, it has all that space to expand into. So what that looks like this way, again, I'm bending my back, bending here, swaying it, however you want to look at it. And then letting that air expand back into the chest cavity. So without my hands here, if I was just here doing it, so if I was working on the right chest cavity, so the right chest cavity goes in. So I can expand the air from my chest and breathe in. You also shouldn't hear a lot of noise when you're breathing. A lot of people believe it should be more of the That's a different function. That's you can get power of your breath without the noise. And then after you've done this again, now for the left side, so I'm expanding the chest cavity, contract, so see, as if I had strings or... But now after you've done that for a little bit, try combining it. So I go from the right and to the left. See how this sort of is like skiing down a hill? That slalom course, so that would be more the pelvis doing that. I'm doing the chest to chest. Might be easier. Again, complexity. This is, in a sense, like almost a running, but I'm working on that counterbalance. You can take it as far as going here, or here. No, that doesn't work. So, out. There you go, that's much better. You can do it this way. So you're doing opposite, or you can do, again, where it's pulling in. And at some point, just rest and just see what that feels like. But there's a lot more power in there. And the reason there's a lot more power is for the getting up process. See, when I get up, guess what my whole chest cavity is doing? Everything we just did. Right? So when I go to get up, I contract through this side and expands out here. Or if I go to get up, so it's getting out of a car. All of those daily functions that you need to do, you're giving power or more options. And also what I like to do is just going back to this, and now this is what will put you to sleep. Just that beginning movement. But now that you've had all that chest work, it's so intense. Same thing, you can combine this with, breathing out, pulling the chest cavity in, then expanding the chest and letting the hands slide around that. But just feel again that slide, that slide. Really help you transform even your neck muscles around this because of the ribs countering around this. You can do ribs up and chest contract this way. There's lots of ways that you can play with that once you learn how to do it. But I would just really stick with that slide first and then that contraction of the belly. But I think you'll really find that just from that you'll get up so much better because of the chest cavity. Thanks.